A couple of years ago, a band who were relatively unknown outside of their native Italy won the Eurovision Song Contest. The band is called Måneskin, and this part of the video is going to seem quite disjointed from the rest of it. And that's because I fucked up. I'm recording this after the rest of the video. This is meant to be about midway through. I've just returned from an overnight stay in the capital of England, London. And if you've followed this channel for a while, first of all, you have my sympathies. And secondly, you may be aware that last year, the wife and I went to Rome to see the Italian band Måneskin. A band made up of 4 musicians in their 20s who give me hope for the future. But last night we went to see them in London. London, where the coronation took place on Saturday, then there was the coronation concert on the Sunday. So I was expecting Bank Holiday Monday to be absolute fucking chaos. I couldn't have been more wrong. There was no traffic whatsoever. We got in the car, drove straight to London and straight to our hotel with no hold-ups whatsoever. I have never known it that quiet in the capital. So, we parked up, I had a shower, we got ready and we went to the venue. The Millennium Dome in Greenwich. Of course, the Dome is now the O2 Arena. The Millennium Dome was a vanity project from the government of the time, which was led by prominent war criminal Tony Blair, and it was an utter fucking failure. Luckily though, the British taxpayer picked up the bill. And when the exhibition was over, the owners had to pay £40,000 a week in security. And after 4 or 5 years, the O2 Group bought it and turned it into an entertainment venue. Anyway, Måneskin. We saw them in Rome last year, and I can say hand on heart, they were the best live band I've ever seen, and I've seen fucking thousands. With the right publicity, they could be Generation Z's version of Queen. So how would they stack up in London? Well, Mrs. Disgruntled, she's mainly gone to see the lead singer, Damiano David. And to be fair, I can understand why. He's a charming chap, and he's sickeningly good looking. But is it right to sexualise a younger person in the year 2023 because she's got a thing for the singer? Now, personally, I like the bass player, but I would do nothing to sexualise Victoria De Angelis. Yes, I don't need to sexualise her because she's more than capable of doing that for herself. And do I find her attractive? Well, obviously, aside from Mrs. Disgruntled, I think she's the hottest woman in the world. I'd go as far to say I would drag my bollocks through half a mile of broken glass just so that she could swear at me in Italian and spit at me. So I have to say that as a guitar player, I feel almost dirty perving on a bassist. But what a bassist. Nonetheless, Måneskin's guitarist, Thomas Radji, despite being only 22 years old, he's already written some of the best guitar solos I've ever heard. Now, I'm a guitar guy, but the difference is, last night, when he broke into his first few notes of his solo, 25,000 people went berserk. When I do it at the venues I play, half of the people don't look round from the fucking bar. So Mrs. Disgruntled and I, we've already got tickets to see them again when they come back to the UK later this year. And as someone who's very passionate about music, I love that there's this young band who are keeping rock and roll alive rather than this mass-produced shit we hear everywhere else. Dirge like non-binary weirdo Sam Smith and Cardi B rapping loudly about her overly used vagina. So if we take a very brief look at the history of rock and metal music, well, the scales used in heavy metal, they're classical. That comes from Europe. Then the blues, that originated in America, which turned into rock and roll. From there on, rock and roll was fused with classical scales to become heavy metal. That was invented in Birmingham in the UK. And from then on, rock and metal has mainly been a British or American affair, albeit with other bands from Europe, Scandinavia and Australia. The jury's still out on who invented punk rock, whether it was the USA or the UK, but personally, I don't know why either country would want to own up to inventing that shit. So that's the history of rock and metal. But I can say categorically where the future is. The future is Italian. As ever, thanks for watching.